Hello, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about the attack position, but I'm going to go a little beyond just talking about the attack position, and I'm going to talk about being loose and comfortable on your bike, mostly while standing, because I see a lot of riders out there that aren't very comfortable standing and riding, and that's an essential way to be on a mountain bike if you want to be successful out on the trail, especially when it comes to technical features and things like that. And this doesn't matter if you have a hardtail, a full suspension bike or not. Don't let your suspension be your crutch and you just sit and ride through stuff just because you have suspension. Get out of the saddle, get in the attack position, and learn how to be loose and comfortable on your bike while doing that and while going over features and stuff. So that's what we're going to talk about today. First, I'm going to talk about the attack position, and then we'll get into more detail about being loose and stuff, and then we'll hit the trail. Okay, so what is the attack position? Well, the attack position is pretty simple. I'm going to go do a little loop and I'll show you. So to be in the attack position, you want to be standing and you want your pedals level to the ground. This is the attack position. It's not one foot down or the other foot down. It's one foot forward and the other foot forward. So some people are more comfortable with their right foot forward. Some people are more comfortable with their left. Some people don't know which one they're more comfortable with. Just ride along and put one foot forward or the other foot forward and just see which one makes you feel more comfortable on the bike, and then go with that. If you honestly feel equals both ways, then that's a benefit. Then you can learn how to do things both ways. Airplane, of course. Okay, so once you've figured out which foot is more comfortable forward, the next thing is to learn how to be relaxed on the bike and be really comfortable standing and rolling along. I'm going really slow right now. I'm trying to stay like kind of within the video. You can go a little faster and just get comfortable with this rolling around, even steer around a little bit. And if you're not comfortable doing this, you need to practice it, and literally in a parking lot, wherever, just practice standing, rolling around, even pedaling and standing. You definitely want to be able to just pedal around, stand, coast, pedal, stand, coast, soft elbows, soft knees. Just get super comfortable with that and do it not on the trail. Do it in a parking lot or somewhere safe, and just keep riding around. Pick different speeds, go a little faster, but just whatever you do, don't sit in your saddle. Stay standing, pedal around, get really comfortable. So there's a skateboarder named Aaron Cairo, and he teaches skateboarding. He owns a company called Braille, and I love what he says. People that get into skateboarding, they want to learn to ollie or kickflip, all that stuff, right? Well, the first thing somebody does is they get a skateboard. They might skate around a tiny bit on it, and then they start trying to learn tricks and an ollie and stuff like that. And he says, get comfortable riding your skateboard. And he's so right with that comment. Like, if you're gonna learn to do an ollie or something on a skateboard, you need to be really good at skateboarding. And by that meaning rolling around on the skateboard and turning and all that stuff, and feel really comfortable being on the skateboard. That's what I'm saying here, is you need to be super comfortable on your bike, standing, rolling around in that attack position, pedaling and standing, all of that. The more comfortable you are with that, the more capable you're going to be to learn these things. So this is the most basic skill that you want to learn before you start trying all these other things in mountain biking. And unfortunately, I see a lot of riders out there that don't look comfortable, so I know they probably don't feel comfortable. So a couple of clues is, how tight are you holding on to the grips? That's probably the biggest clue. If you're holding on really tight, and I call it the death grip, you're just like rolling around super tight, you're gonna be tight on the bike. So if you're like holding on, oh, for dear life, you're tight on the bike, and you're not gonna be very loose and fluid. So you want to be able to move the bike around, you want to be loose. And if you look at my hands, I'll try to look with the GoPro here, they're loose on there. I'm not holding on super tight. I'm standing, my hands, I can literally like take a hand off, move around. I'm very loose on the bike. So that's how you want to be. You want to be really comfortable here, really balanced and centered. You don't want to be back behind the seat, you don't want to be forward by the bars, you want to be centered over, basically the nose of the saddle is pretty much the center, but the center should just be where your natural bend of your legs are. You don't want to be back or forward, just nice, comfortably centered and balanced. So I'm gonna put an object out here, probably just one of these logs. I'm going to show you why this is so important. Okay, so you might not think that you could just roll over this. And yeah, if you have a big squish full suspension bike, you could sit down and roll over it. But that's going to be a pretty harsh impact on your suspension. It's going to slow you down, this and that. But if you're standing and comfortable and relaxed, you can roll over this. So what I see a lot of people on the trail do is they'll see little things in the trail and they tense up, or they get like nervous about it or whatever. What they don't realize is the bicycle wheel is plenty capable of just going over, and I'll show you this. As long as you have the correct momentum or speed going into it, if you're going really slow, and that's kind of that thing where people who get a little nervous, they tend to put on the brakes and slow down. Well, then all of a sudden everything gets worse. they just exacerbated the problem. You need speed and momentum to get over stuff. And I'm not gonna pull up my front wheel or do anything. I'm on a hardtail, and watch how I go over this log. And yeah, I'm gonna be honest, it's not gonna feel good to just roll over it like I'm gonna do here, but I just want to demonstrate something. Well, I actually wasn't as bad as I was expecting it to be, and that's a pretty decent sized log. I mean, it's not huge, but so again, I'm loose. Whoop, that's sand. I'm loose, roll up to it even slower, and because I'm relaxed and loose, my elbows are soft, my knees are soft, I just go right over it. So suspension or not, what you really want is your arms and your legs to be your suspension, and then let your bike suspension do its thing above and beyond that. But ideally, you want your body to be loose and allow the bike to move around. So that's basically it here. I want to hit the trail and talk about a few things, but yeah, this is pretty straightforward. Get comfortable riding your bike while standing, and stuff like this will be like nothing. You'll see some rocks in the trails, things like that, and your bike's just gonna boom 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 and go right over that stuff because you're loose and allowing it to move around. Hopefully that makes some sense. Let's go hit the trail. So you might be wondering, when would you use the attack position? Because you don't want to be standing the entire time you're riding the trail. You want to probably be seated much of the time, because that's how you preserve energy and you can put down the power. And so right now I'm just seated cruising along on this flowy stuff. But if I wanted to like go super fast and rail turns and stuff like that, I would stand up, get in my, pedaling, and then attack position, and then rail the turns. Because in order to rail turns, you need to be able to maneuver the bike around, and being in your seat on your seat doesn't really allow for that. Same with pumping and jumping. If I want to pump through some rolls, I want to be standing for that, because you can't pump through stuff while seated. If I want to jump, I want to be standing for that. So right here I'm standing, kind of pumping through some of this stuff, flowing. Here's that turn, so I'm going to lean the bike more than my body to get on that aggressive tread on the tire. So can't do all that while I'm seated. Okay, here's a pile of rocks that looks pretty intimidating, but the reality is just about every rider out there, even newer riders, probably not your absolute beginner, but somebody with a little bit of experience, if you get the standing attack position, relaxed, comfortable control, rolling over this is a piece of cake. You literally just come down the hill, maintain your speed, and roll right through here. You can really kind of, there isn't really a bad line here. Even that hole there just isn't big enough to catch a tire. So you really just come in, roll through this. You don't even really have to do anything. I would actually recommend, pulling up a little bit on the front wheel as you come through here, but I'm not talking about that today. I'm just talking about this standing relaxed position and what it can do for you. So I'm going to come down the hill and I'm going to roll this and show you that I just roll through it and everything's okay. Okay, here we go. I dropped my saddle, attack position, just gonna roll right through it. Okay, here we go. I dropped my saddle, attack position, just gonna roll right through it. I didn't even have a ton of speed. This time I'll go a little faster. So I didn't pull up, I didn't do anything. I just was relaxed and allowed the bike to move around. Keep in mind I'm on a hardtail. Right? Okay, I'm gonna do one more. This time I'm gonna actually pull and absorb the bike through this, and I'll kind of show you how that works, even though that's not the point of this video. I just want to show you how smooth I can make this by being in that attack position and by doing just minor things. A little light pull up on the front wheel, a little push through, kind of a minor row anti-row kind of piece. All right, let's do it. So now fast and smooth. So with that one, I didn't even hit the rocks in the middle. So because I kind of popped off of that and came down and then kind of landed there. So I kind of skipped that middle rough part, and I didn't even do that much to do that. I just had the speed, gave a little row, anti-row as I went through, and the bike just did its magic. All right, cool. Okay, I got moving to talk because the mosquitoes are just vicious by that rock. Wow. So I had to be quick. So what I wanted to say is, like, this attack position, this comfort on the bike is extremely important. And one of the ways you can alleviate kind of some of the stress and roughness is by having soft elbows. You should be able to just wiggle your arms around, and a light grip. Like, here I am on this trail and I'm like barely hanging on to the handlebars, moving my fingers around. See that? So the bike is mostly steering and doing everything on its own. I'm just hanging on and giving gentle input. So you don't need to like grip super hard, hang on for dear life. And if you're doing that, you're not going to be smooth. And if you're looking ahead and planning, in my previous video I talk about line choice. If you're looking ahead and you're planning your line and all of that, you should know kind of what you need to be doing on your bike to handle what's coming up. So death grip, no. Okay, here's a section of trail that I would highly recommend standing as you go through it. And the main reason why is weight distribution and your ability for the bike to move around underneath you. When you're seated, most of your weight is going to be on the back tire. When you're standing, your weight's going to be more evenly distributed between your front and rear tire. Your bike is also going to be able to do this, also able to move the weight where necessary. So the reason why I'd be standing through here has a lot more to do with not getting a puncture and not catching some of these rocks. There's a sharp rock there, a few sharp rocks there. I see a sharp rock there and there. And you can ride over that stuff if you're standing. If you're seated and ride over that stuff, all your weight's going to be on the back wheel. Your bike isn't going to be very agile, and you can pinch flat. You can pop the tire off the bead, kick your wheel out to the side. All those things can happen if you're seated riding through a pretty rough section like this. So even on a full suspension bike, I would recommend standing as you go through here. So I will demonstrate that with my Insta360.
Have a good ride.
So I literally went right through the middle. I didn't avoid anything. So if you watch closely, when I went through here, I literally went right through the middle. I didn't even care what I rode over. And I rode right over these rocks sticking up and right through there and everything. And it didn't matter to me because I'm standing and letting the bike be fluid. And so those rocks, which look kind of sharp and gnarly, didn't even matter. Like, my bike just rolled right over them. If I was seated and went over those, I can guarantee you might hear that sound, the bad sound, that boom. You don't want to hear that sound, but if you're standing and being fluid on the bike, you're much less likely to hear that sound, even if you go over the sharp stuff. So there you have it. Oh, look at this. Standing, just roll through there. All right, nice timing. Anyway, so concluding this video, stand, attack position, be loose on the bike, and you'll be able to get through a lot more things than you think you could. I'm gonna actually do a video, because I was thinking about it while doing this one, on how to properly use your dropper pose, when to use it, when you don't really need to use it, things like that. For a lot of this like chattery stuff, when I stand to go through it, I don't drop my pose. I usually only drop it if I'm going to be jumping or doing something more aggressive. So I was trying to conclude my video, but I had like some cross-country racer dude right on my tail, like wanting me to get out of his way, and I was only a short distance from this spot. So this is bobsled. I'm gonna go ride bobsled. I really appreciate your support for my channel. Please like and subscribe. Peace. See what I'm doing it this way? I got confused with that last time.